Hi there, this is Alan Ting, author of the #1 international best-selling book, The Instant Energy Method, 3 secret hacks on how to have more focus, productivity, and influence at work. And in this Ultimate Success series, helping you compress decades of success into days for your success, we'll be talking about relationships. For some of you, obviously today's Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Now, for some of you, you're wondering, what does relationship have to do with success? Well, so let me ask you this. When you're at work, actually first and foremost, for most people, when they identify success, it's either on health or maybe it's their work, whether the amount of money they make or what material possession they have. They have a house, they have a fancy car, and maybe something about status. Okay, nothing wrong with those considering success, but success has, for me, my definition has many different folds, not just on my business end, on my coaching end, or my health end, but also relationship. Because let me ask you this: if you're in a relationship, let's say you got in a big argument with your spouse, right? And you can't sleep at night because you guys argue back and forth. How does that affect your day the next day when you go to work? Do you think you'll be operating at 100% and you're giving out your fullest? Or you still have this lingering thing in your back of your mind that the relationship is not working? So essentially, everything's all interrelated, right? Because if you have, what was that saying? Happy wife, happy life? Yeah. So it impacts everything else in your life, okay? Hey, Paul, how you doing? Thanks for joining me. So in this series, we're going to be talking about Valentine's Days and the 3 mistakes to avoid if you want to have ultimate passion in your life, okay? So there's 2 parts. First is the science of achievement, which is you can absolutely accomplish anything you want in your life if you follow these specific things, like being persistent, being able to execute, being able to do what you promise to do. The other part is the art of living. Now, the reason why it's art of living is because, like, let's say for you and I go to an art exhibit. You might absolutely love this painting, and for me, I probably hated it because your perception and my perception are totally different. And that's why it's an art. There's no specific ways to achieve that. Now, for your relationship, you probably have ways that makes you feel fulfilled and feel happy. So there are 4 levels of fulfillment, right? The first one is, hey, if you guys like this, go ahead and click on the like button below. And I appreciate that. So since we're on Facebook Live, there are 4 levels of relationship, right? The number 1 is like the ultimate relationship. So we'll be like, you wake up in the morning, you love your wife so much, or you love your husband so much, or your girlfriend so much that, oh, thanks for giving me a thumbs up, Paul, that you're just having a blast, okay? Everything seems really well in your life. You're just enjoying your life, and you guys are such in love, so in sync. So that's the level 1 relationship. Now, level 2 relationship is more like a roommate. You still love each other, but you wake up in the morning like you're a friend, you're a best friend. Nothing's wrong with that, but I think that if you don't live in level 1, and for me, it's always constantly living in level 1 and level 2, right? If I be honest with you, that if for most people they live in level 2, which is like they get up in the morning and then they kind of like their best friend. But one day they wake up a couple of years later and they realize, where did the passion go? Right. So number 3 level relationship is they are in a relationship, but they're trying to find a way to get out of the relationship. They're trying to plan their exit strategy, right, in business. So whether they're trying to get a divorce or they're trying to dump their boyfriend or dump their girlfriend, maybe they have a better prospect, so they think, and they want to date somebody else. So that's a level 3 relationship. And a level 4 relationship is somebody who's been in a relationship who's got really hurt and never ever want to be in a relationship ever again. And they think that being in a relationship for them meaning is super hurtful, and they have a lot of resentment of their previous relationship. So if I can ask you this, if somebody who is in a level 4 relationship, what do you think if they were to get into another relationship? How do you think that relationship will work out? Probably not, right? Because they're so carrying so much resentment behind them. So here's a saying I like you to think about is, if you're in a level 4 relationship, which is like you don't want to be in a relationship ever in your life again, basically what you're really doing is that person is doing is putting these walls, right? And these walls are like to protect them from getting hurt ever again. Well, what happens when you put up a wall? You block out the bad people, but you also block out the what? The good people, right? Now, you might argue like, yeah, that doesn't still make sense for me. I still don't want to be in a relationship. I get it. If I can ask you this. Now, let me ask you this. Is this the same if you were to go to a concert with you're experiencing like thousands of people and everybody's clapping together and everybody's having fun, everybody's singing along in the concert, or you stay at home and watch the same exact video, singing the same song on MTV or on YouTube by yourself? It's not the same, is it? Because what's the difference? The difference is it's so visual, because when you're sitting in front of like tens and thousands of other people, right? You get their feedback too. When they're laughing, when they're cheering, and they're having a good time, you feel that energy too, don't you? So that's why if you are planning to put more walls up, in front of you, I highly recommend you start looking at ways to improve yourself, which I'm going to talk about the 3 mistakes to avoid if you want being an ultimate success relationship. Okay. So number 1 is being okay with yourself, meaning that you love yourself. Because imagine this, you're like your circle. And this is something that I learned from Brendon Burchard. Okay. Imagine yourself, you're a circle. Okay. When you love yourself, then you're okay with yourself. Now, I'm not talking about being a narcissist or anything. Okay. Not like, well, I'm so great that I have achieved this. No, none of that. When I say love yourself, meaning you are accepting for who you are, the body that you have. Maybe it's your emotions. Maybe it's you just basically love yourself fully, love your heart for who you are, everything that you have. When you can do that, you are a full circle rather than having this gap. So you can probably hear my daughters waking up in the background here, so we'll continue on. Okay. Now, here's the key point. The other part of you, the other significant part of you, also needs to be in a full circle as well. Because if that person is not in full circle, guess what's going to happen, right? When you guys get together, you guys are going to have a gap. Now, in the first part, when you guys first get together, you might be together, but if you don't work on yourself, if you don't constantly improve on yourself and making sure you're letting go of the shit that you've been holding on for years, guess what's going to happen? All the resentment, all that, what's going to happen? Eventually, it's going to break, right? This relationship will not work. Here's the other key important ingredient. Now, this requires both parties to work together, because I've been in a relationship before where, one of us is whole and the other one's not. I mean, I'm guilty of this as well, right? And guess what happens, right? Eventually, this would also break apart as well. So the the fundamental of all relationship is having your own shit figured out first. Pardon my French. Okay, so having this figured out, once you have this, you have such a strong bond that this will never break. And that will help you into class 1 relationship. Okay, so that's the first mistake to avoid, is to not work on yourself. The second one is also do what you do in the beginning, and relationship will never end. This is something from Tony Robbins. So think about that for a second. Do what you did in the beginning of the relationship, and your relationship will never end. Sometimes like you pick up the phone and you're like texting, you're Facebooking, and you're not being present in front of your spouse. I'm guilty of that. My wife like smacks me over the head at times to, hey, honey, I want some attention right now, right? So I totally get it. So not being present, right, in your relationship will kill your relationship. Now, think about when you first get together in any relationship, you're like, honey, what can I do for you? Or honey, like you have my full undivided attention. You're always there. So if you did what you did in the beginning of the relationship, and your relationship will never end. Now, the third mistake to avoid is your commitment. Nowadays, if you look at it, what is percentage of the people getting divorced? It's like 50+%, right? So that means 2 out of every people that you know who are married have gone through a divorce. I mean, if you look at the top gurus, Tony's got divorced. Even the guy who wrote Men Are from Mars, Women from Venus, John Gray, he's been divorced, right? Uh, Again, nothing wrong with that, but the first thing is understand that the mistake to avoid is commitment, because it takes two party, again, having the commitment together, right? And the commitment starts when you're not having fun. There are days what I'm sharing with you is very transparent. There are days that, my wife and I get into argument because just like you, we're human. We make mistakes. We have our own baggage that we also carry on, but it's constantly working on that baggage. Getting rid of that baggage will help you get to the next level. So, but the thing is, what we are committed together is that commitment, and especially when you're not having fun. Now, anybody can get in a limo and have fun and ride with you, but who's going to stick around when you're riding a bus? Yeah, so that's the commitment part. All right, so kind of recap really quick. One is work on yourself. Second one is your do what you do in the beginning. A relationship will never end. Number 3 is having that commitment of you when you guys are not having fun. That's the most crucial part in the relationship. So I hope you learned quite a bit from this short session. Some of you, it's probably like a repeat or a relearning of what you've already know. But the difference is between knowing and actually doing. It's different, isn't it? So make sure you learn those 3 mistakes and actually apply them in your life. And you'll see, you too can also achieve that level 1 experience, that ultimate relationship. I love you being on, and if you have any questions, feel free to type on below. Love to hear your feedback. And happy Valentine's Day, everybody, whether you're single or whether you're in a relationship. And have an awesome day.